Hi guys, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about my feeding tube and whether or not it's going to be a permanent fixture in my body or if it's something that I'm going to be able to eventually get off of. Some of you know that I've been trying to, well, first things first, I have a feeding tube and I've had a feeding tube since January of this year. And I've had a feeding tube because I've got gastroparesis, which is where my stomach is partially paralyzed and it does not digest or move properly, and so it doesn't really empty sufficiently. And so liquids, even liquids, solids and liquids just sit in my stomach for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it becomes very uncomfortable. And before my tube, that caused me to not be able to eat hardly any food without feeling really full, without having a lot of nausea, stomach pain, bloating, things like that. And so I wasn't able to eat enough calories in the day to sustain myself. And so I lost a lot of weight, and I got malnourished, which I'm still healing from now. I had tried well, there really wasn't anything I could try. The Reglan is a medicine to help stimulate your stomach, but it caused a lot of neuro side effects, and I've taken that in the past, and it caused a lot of tremors. And so that my GI doctor he doesn't even want that. It's not even on the table for him. And then erythromycin is another one that they use sometimes, and I can't take that with my myasthenia. So. And then there's other things like a gastric pacemaker, but with my Ehlers-Danlos and just surgery stuff in general with me, it's not really a good option for us. So the feeding tube was kind of like one of the least invasive, even though it is invasive, it was one of the least invasive treatments for gastroparesis for me. So that is what we are doing. I have recently been using medical cannabis for a lot of, like, my myasthenia gravis and fibromyalgia pain. One of my big things is I am in a lot of pain every day. I don't always show it. I usually always have a smile on my face, but it's very exhausting to be in pain so much. So this was an option that my doctor recommended for me because I exhausted a lot of options, and I'm allergic to like narcotics, and I can't really take NSAIDs and because of my stomach and things like that. So this was just a viable option. So with that, yes, it actually has helped great for my pain, and it's helped my myasthenia. I'm not sure why or how, what the mechanism is for that, but it does help. So we thought maybe it would help with my stomach issues, and maybe there was a possibility for me to be able to get off of my feeding tube. So I've used it enough now to kind of gauge that, and it was helping with my appetite. So it helped me kind of be hungry and things like that. But the problem came when I ate food and maybe I would eat food, I guess, a little, maybe like more than a snack's worth. So maybe more than a few bites. I was able to eat more than a few bites, and that's to kind of test to see if I'd be able to even have more than a few bites of food to sustain myself off the tube. And what happens is, even though it's giving me an appetite, my food is still sitting there. And I can test that through my feeding tube because I have a G port and a J port. My formula goes into my J part, which is the jejunum. It's the small intestine. That's where my feeds go because my stomach doesn't work. But I have the G part so I can vent my stomach, which means whenever I have a lot of buildup of fluids or gastric fluids and things like that, I can vent that or drain that. So with doing that, I can see hours and hours later food that I had hours and hours before, and it's still not really moving. So the medical cannabis is not helping me in that part. So unfortunately, that means that I will have to keep my feeding tube. There's no way that I would be able to eat enough of foods to sustain myself, and foods that I would actually be able to kind of digest, which, you know, I have to have low fat, low fiber, low histamine, no gluten, and things like that. So my options are already limited in the real world of food. Whereas my feeding tube, I get enough calories, I'm getting enough nutrients, and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So on the upside of it, this herb is allowing me to have a little bit of an appetite for maybe a few snacks or something. When I say snacks, I'm meaning like a rice cake, a few M&Ms, gummy worms, and, you know, anyway, stuff like that my body will digest. And unfortunately, food that's a lot more digestible is usually junk food. So, but anyway, it helps that a little bit, and you know, it allows me to still have a few bites of food, and it gives me an appetite, and it does help with my nausea. So I don't have to take as much as Zofran, so that's a plus with it. So, I mean, there's ups and downs, but we have come to the decision that the feeding tube is going to be a permanent part of my life, and we were at peace with that. It was really, really difficult road to kind of get to that decision and accept. It's a big change for me, but it is allowing me to live my life. It's allowing me to have energy and strength, and to be able to actually live a life instead of being so restricted to what I can eat and how much I can't even eat, and then having no energy and just wasting away like I was. I've gained my weight, and I'm stable, and now I just need to get stronger. So we'll be working on that in the future. So, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of catch you guys up. I know I've mentioned it a little bit about you know, that option I have in the state that I'm in, and so I just wanted to kind of give you kind of an update about it. You know, I'm all for it. It's a great thing. It's helped me so much when I have no other treatment options. So we're going to keep on board with that. And but with that, I will see you in the next video.